Here's the mistake I see: destroying the health of men over 60. And most of them have no idea it's happening. They wake up with stiff knees, they skip the gym, and they tell themselves, I'll start again when my joints feel better. That day never comes. And in the meantime, something catastrophic is happening inside their body that has nothing to do with their knees. After the age of 60, you lose between 3 and 8% of your muscle mass every single decade if you do nothing. That's not a slow fade, that's a cliff. And here's what nobody tells you: that muscle loss is not a side effect of aging. It is the engine of aging. It accelerates every disease risk you can think of: cardiovascular disease, insulin resistance, cognitive decline, even the risk of dying from a fall. Your knees aren't killing you. The muscle you're not building is. My name is Marcus Reed. I'm 58 years old, a former professional athlete, and I've spent the last decade training men over 50, guys with replaced hips, surgically repaired shoulders, bone-on-bone knees, and getting them stronger than they've been in 20 years. What I'm going to share with you today is not a gentle exercise for seniors routine. This is the exact biological and mechanical method that overrides the limitations of bad joints and triggers real muscle growth: lean, functional, protective muscle. Here's what we're covering. First, why your knees are not the obstacle you think they are. The science will surprise you. Second, the specific hormonal pathway you need to activate to build muscle after 60, and why most guys are accidentally shutting it off. Third, 4 chapters of precise protocol sets, reps, timing, modifications built for compromised joints. And at the end, I'm going to give you a single force multiplier habit that will double the effectiveness of everything else you do. Don't skip it. 1. Why your knees are lying to you. The mechanism: mechanical tension and mTOR. Arthur was 70 years old when he came to me. Both knees had been declared bone on bone by his orthopedic surgeon. He'd been told to avoid weight-bearing exercise. He'd been sedentary for 3 years. When I met him, he couldn't stand up from a chair without using his arms to push off. He looked at me and said, "Marcus, I think I've just aged out of this." I told him he hadn't. I told him his doctor was right about the cartilage, but wrong about the conclusion. Here's why. Muscle growth is governed primarily by a protein pathway called mTOR, mechanistic target of rapamycin. Think of mTOR as the master switch inside your muscle cells. When it gets the right signal, it activates protein synthesis, the biological process of building new muscle tissue. The key signal mTOR responds to is mechanical tension. That means your muscles need to feel load, resistance, strain. But here's the critical insight: mTOR does not care whether your knees are in pain. mTOR responds to what's happening inside the muscle fiber, not the joint. The joint and the muscle are separate systems. What damages the knee is excessive compressive force at specific joint angles. What builds the muscle is tension on the fiber. Your job is to find the joint angle that eliminates compression while maximizing tension. And that angle exists every time. Arthur started training with me 3 times a week. We used pain-free range of motion, never going past the point where his knees complained. We used elevated heel positions, partial ranges, and targeted angles. Within 8 weeks, he was standing up from a chair unassisted. Within 6 months, he was leg pressing 180 pounds and hiking on weekends. The knees didn't change. The muscle surrounding them did. Strong quads reduce the compressive load on the knee joint by acting as a shock absorber. Muscle didn't hurt him. The absence of muscle had been hurting him for 3 years. This is not about pushing through pain. This is about understanding that pain-free exercise exists and finding it. We'll build that protocol in chapters 2 and 3. But first, you need to understand what's happening hormonally, because without addressing this next piece, even perfect exercise produces half the results. 2. The hormonal battlefield and how to win it. The mechanism: myostatin, testosterone, and cortisol. Frank, 64, was doing everything right, or so he thought. He was exercising 6 days a week, doing long cardio sessions, eating less to try to lose his gut, and he was getting weaker every month. His muscles were shrinking, he was exhausted, and he came to me completely confused. What was happening to Frank has a name. It's called catabolic dominance. Here's the biology. Your body runs on a hormonal balance between anabolic signals, the ones that build tissue, and catabolic signals, the ones that break it down. In men over 60, this balance is already tilted toward breakdown. Testosterone declines by roughly 1 to 2% per year after 30. A protein called myostatin, which I want you to think of as your body's internal muscle size limiter, becomes more active with age. And the stress hormone cortisol, which tears down muscle tissue for fuel, rises in response to excessive training volume, poor sleep, and chronic caloric restriction. Frank was doing all three of those things. He wasn't just failing to build muscle. He was actively accelerating its destruction. The fix is counterintuitive. You do not need more exercise. You need smarter exercise. Research shows that heavy resistance training, even in men over 70, significantly suppresses myostatin levels, meaning the body's limiter gets pushed back. And shorter, more intense sessions under 60 minutes keep cortisol from spiking into the danger zone. Frank went from 6 days of cardio to 3 days of resistance training, 45 minutes per session. He ate more protein, not less food. Within 90 days, he had lost 4 pounds of fat and gained 6 pounds of lean muscle. Same man. Different hormonal environment. I want you to sit with that for a second, because the next chapter is where we get tactical. We're going to build the exact sessions that suppress myostatin, protect cortisol, and load your muscles without loading your joints. 3. The joint-sparing strength protocol. The precise method. Angles, loads, and timing. Robert came to me at 67 with a lateral meniscus tear he'd been managing for 5 years. He'd accepted that squats were behind him. Here's what I told Robert. Squats are a movement pattern, not a machine. And the pattern can be loaded at a dozen different angles, depths, and mechanical positions, each with a radically different effect on the knee. Your identity as a guy who can't squat was built around one specific version of one specific exercise. Let's rebuild it. The joint-sparing strength protocol is built on 4 principles. First, pain-free range of motion is the only range of motion. If it hurts, we adjust the angle, the load, or the position. We never push through joint pain. Second, we use time under tension as our primary lever, not weight. Slowing the eccentric phase, the lowering phase, to 4 seconds increases mechanical tension on the muscle fiber dramatically, without increasing the load on the joint. Third, we use strategic joint loading, meaning we position your body so the muscle bears the load, not the cartilage. Fourth, we train 3 days a week, never on back-to-back days, to allow complete inflammatory resolution. Here is the core weekly structure. Day 1. Lower body, push focus. Heel elevated goblet squat. 4 sets of 10 reps at a 4-second eccentric. Leg press at 45 degrees, stopping 30 degrees short of full knee flexion, 3 sets of 12. Seated leg extension at half range. 3 sets of 15. This one is crucial because it loads the quad without compressing the joint at depth. Day 2. Upper body and horizontal pull. Chest-supported dumbbell row, 4 sets of 10. Incline dumbbell press, 3 sets of 12. Band pull-apart for rotator cuff health, 3 sets of 20. Day 3. Full body integration. Hip-dominant Romanian deadlift. 4 sets of 8 at a 3-second eccentric. Standing cable pull-down for lat development, 3 sets of 12. Step up onto a low box, 6 to 8 inches. 3 sets of 10 each side, moving slowly and deliberately. Total weekly training volume, 3 sessions, under 45 minutes each. That's it. This is the program you do because you have time. This is the program you do because you understand that more volume at your age increases cortisol and delays recovery without increasing adaptation. The science calls this minimum effective dose. I call it working with your biology instead of against it. Robert, by the way, is now doing loaded step-ups with 40 pounds and reporting less knee pain than he had before he started training, because the muscle he built is absorbing the force his joint used to carry alone. 4. Protein timing and the anabolic window, the real version. The mechanism. Leucine threshold and muscle protein synthesis. Dennis was 71. He trained consistently, used the right exercises, and still wasn't building muscle the way the protocol predicted. When I asked him what he ate after training, he said, "Usually nothing for a couple of hours. I'm not that hungry after exercise." That was the missing piece. Here's the mechanism. After resistance training, your muscle cells open what researchers call an anabolic window, a period of heightened sensitivity to amino acids, particularly an amino acid called leucine. Leucine acts as a molecular key that unlocks the mTOR pathway we talked about in Chapter 1. If you don't flood the bloodstream with leucine-rich protein during this window, the muscle repair and growth signal falls flat. You did the work. You didn't collect the paycheck. For men over 60, this matters more than it does for younger men, because aging reduces anabolic sensitivity, meaning your body needs a higher leucine threshold just to trigger the same response. The practical answer is straightforward. Consume 35 to 40 grams of high-quality protein within 30 to 45 minutes after each training session. A chicken breast, a large serving of Greek yogurt, eggs with cottage cheese, any whole food combination that hits that number. The leucine you need is already in the food. You just have to eat it at the right time. Dennis made this single change. Same training, same sleep, same everything else. In 6 weeks, his strength on the leg press went up 20%. He stopped calling it the program. He started calling it the truth. I want to stop here and ask you something directly. I ask this of every man I work with, because the answer tells me everything. What is the one joint, one injury, or one physical limitation that you've been using as your reason not to train? Not an excuse, I mean the real thing. The thing you wake up and feel first thing in the morning. Drop it in the comments right now, because I want you to see how many other men are carrying the same weight and how many of them are about to realize it doesn't have to stop them. Everything I've described, the protocol, the protein timing, the hormonal management works. But there's one habit that doubles the effectiveness of all of it, and almost nobody talks about it. Sleep. Not just sleep in general. Specifically, the first 4 hours of deep sleep, during which your pituitary gland releases the majority of your daily growth hormone. Growth hormone is the primary overnight repair signal that converts the micro-damage from your training session into new, stronger muscle tissue. Without adequate deep sleep, you are training and not recovering. You are creating the stimulus with no delivery of the result. The force multiplier habit is this. Drop your room temperature to between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit before you sleep, eliminate all screen exposure 45 minutes before bed, and eat your post-workout protein not before bed, but time to training. Men who implement these 3 environmental sleep changes show measurable increases in slow-wave deep sleep within 2 weeks. More deep sleep, more growth hormone, more muscle. It's a biological multiplier, not a nice-to-have. Arthur does this. Frank does this. Robert does this. Dennis started doing this and called it the moment the program clicked. Most men over 60 who come across this information will nod, feel inspired for about 4 minutes, and do nothing. That's not a judgment, that's a statistical reality. Change is hard. The body that's been sedentary finds 1,000 reasons to stay that way, but you're still here. You watched through the mechanisms, through the protocol, through the science. That tells me something about who you are. You are not looking for comfort. You are looking for truth. And the truth is this: your age is not your enemy. Your biology is not your enemy. The muscle you haven't built yet is the only thing standing between you and the next 20 years of strength, independence, and vitality. The men I train don't think of themselves as aging men trying to slow the decline. They think of themselves as the top 5%, the ones who chose information over ignorance and action over excuses. That's who you are now. That choice was made the moment you chose to learn. Put the protocol to work this week. Start with day 1. Heel elevated goblet squat. 4 sets of 10. 4-second eccentric. You'll feel something that surprises you, not pain. Progress. Your body is still waiting to surprise you. Let it.